Welcome back to my channel, guys. Thanks for watching for the previous videos. So today we are going to learn the painting of an apple with watercolor. So let's watch. So I'm going to give a very light wash of lemon yellow. That's the first coat that you add for anything that is a natural object. It's good to wait for some time after adding the first wash because the paper is too wet. So we don't need to spoil the paper. As I'm using 120 GSM, it's a very thin and light paper, so you need to be very careful, but it's not true that you can't do any work on it. You can. Always keep a light hand while you are doing watercolor painting. Don't think that it's acrylic and you can just move your brush anyhow. Just be very light. Before applying any coat, I always try and wait. I make sure that I wait for some time. So now I'm using raw amber near the stick. It's a hollow part near the apple, which gives a good depth and makes your stick stand out. It's very important when you're doing watercolor that you observe your object very carefully with fine eyes. Watercolor is all about few parts which makes your work look very good. So it's always good to observe your object for maybe 2 minutes, 5 minutes. If you still can't understand what color you need to use, keep watching it, keep observing it. Don't be in a hurry to just finish your work as quick as possible. So now I give a wash of medium yellow and maybe ochre, just a base coat, so that the apple is not white and white. So that's the basic coat that I'm giving to the apple, because if you see, red apple is not that bright and you can't have a very lemony color to it until it is like a green or yellow apple. So you see, I've added a tint of orange yellow in it, and I'm giving this color exactly where I see on the apple. And I basically use the tip of the brush. I don't rub my brush too much on the object because I don't want to spoil my paper and ming out all those threads of the paper and spoil my paper. Whenever you observe a painting in watercolor, make sure that you don't observe it from very close angle. Never do it a close-up look. Always watch your work from far or anybody else's work. That makes you understand where you need to add your dark tones, where you need to leave your highlight. So now I'll begin with the dark tone. If you see, I'm using my tip of the brush to give those line textures to the apple. So I won't be in a hurry to finish my work, but rather be very patient while working. Mostly sometimes in watercolor people think like, oh, my work is not happening good, why does it look like patches? But believe me, these patchwork are the beauty of watercolor. So don't be afraid, don't think like, oh, why is it going bad? Just be calm, be patient, everything will happen step by step. Now that you see, I've added crimson red and vermilion red. It's a mixture of both the colors. I'm giving another layer over the apple. I make sure that when I work I don't be in a hurry, because I am afraid that I might tear my paper. So you see, I'm using this color, doing some texture, because how I see the texture on the real apple, I try doing the same way. For beginners, I would like to say, don't be upset on your first try. Keep working, keep doing mistakes. The mistakes will make you learn ahead. See, I'm using the tip of the brush to make textures. I'm not a great watercolor artist, but it's something that I want to share the knowledge. I've learned from mistakes and I have become very patient now. Before, I used to be in hurry and I used to not understand where I'm going wrong. I used to think that why is my work looking so bad? Why can't I be good? But it's all out of practice that has worked out for me. So I know even you'll turn better if you keep practicing and practicing. So cheer up. As I keep working, I notice that my apple that I have done is looking very good and nice. I'm happy because that's what I want. Even while I work, I have a fear that it might not turn out good. Maybe what will happen, what's going to be the end result. But thankfully, it looks like an apple and not like a alien fruit from another world. So now what I'll do is, where I feel the tones have turned very dark and the lines somewhere have turned dark, I just dip the tip of the brush in water, not too much water, and trying to mild it, kind of spreading it with water so that it looks good and not too dark and not too hard lines, because I have to still work another layer and layer and layer. So if this coat is going to be that dark, then the next layer that I'm going to add won't be standing out. So you need to have a little kind of understanding that where it should be a little mild, so that the next step that you give a bit of dark tone stands out. So now I'm trying to give a little slight watery dark tone, because this is what I see on the real apple. You need to always understand where is the highlight, where is the dark side, where is the depth, where you need to add your dark colors. so that's the main important thing in your watercolor, that makes your work looks realistic. That simple things, the dots, the lines, the texture is very important. So see carefully as I do it. Just keep watching how I use the tip of my brush to do that little beauty texture on my apple. This is the way you actually need to work with your watercolor, and not like a very big plot of colors going on your object. You can even use a fine 00 brush, but as you see I'm using number 6 round brush because I'm very comfortable with it. Previously when I was a student, I used to be afraid of using very thick brushes because I used to be scared what if the brush is holding too much of water. But now that I have a good understanding in the process of handling water, I'm comfortable even with number 12, number 10 brush while working. While giving dark tones, all you need to understand is the water understanding in your brush. When you give dark tones, the color tint in your brush has to be more than the water, and while you give light tones like the first water wash, the water and the color needs to be 3:1. So the water is more and the color tint is less. And as you keep doing the second step, third step of layering, you will understand that the wash is turning darker. So don't be in a hurry and give a very dark wash first. Then you'll be wondering, oh, where I need to leave the highlight for the apple or for any fruit or any object that you're doing. So now I'm going to do the shadow. So the color that I have taken is ultramarine blue and crimson. I like using these colors for my shadow because it looks good, especially on a dark object. It looks pretty good. I have yet not finished with the apple, but until I'm waiting for it to dry, I'm working on the shadow because I need to understand where I need to add a dark tone on my apple. So I'm putting that time and doing the shadow. So as you see, the hollow part near the stick where I have been working for a while has been looking pretty good. It's making the stick stand out. So this is how you need to understand to give the depth at a particular place so that the other things stand out in the object. So as I see this texture on the apple, I try to use the fine tip of the brush and I keep giving the little details where it's needed. And also I'll work on the shadow again because the first layer of shadow is dried and it's light, so I like giving maybe 2 or 3 coats again, working on it so that the shadow makes the apple stand out and it looks more real. I'm adding the dark wash. It's not that thick, it's like a watery wash that I'm giving, and I'm doing it few parts here and there where I think it needs to be a little darker. So if you see, I keep working. I notice that the apple kind of looks realistic as I see it from far. So this is what the step is for watercolor. You need to work step by step from light to dark. The process of watercolor is from light to dark, and if you see now, it looks realistic if you check out from far. So this is what it looks like, the end result. So I've kind of added some highlight to it.